All right, so today we're going to be deep diving into something pretty wild. Elon Musk and this $56 billion pay package that a judge in Delaware just completely shot down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we've got this CNBC article that kind of breaks down all the drama, the legal stuff.
Okay.
And we've also got this super interesting Reddit thread with people just going off, all of their reactions to it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild to see people debating it,
Totally. So let's start with that CNBC article.
Mm-hmm.
They said that this pay package that Musk got like back in 2018 was supposed to be like the biggest one ever for like a CEO at a public company.
Seriously.
Yeah, and it was all tied to like Tesla hitting all these like crazy performance goals.
And they did hit them, though, right?
Oh, they totally did.
Yeah.
Which is why this whole payout thing even became a thing.
Wow.
But then you have all these Tesla shareholders who are like, wait a minute, this isn't right.
Yeah, I can see that.
They're saying that the board, the people who are supposed to be like looking out for the company,
Mm-hmm.
they're saying that they weren't really independent from Musk and that the whole deal was just like totally unfair to Tesla.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and so that's what started this huge legal battle that's been going on for years.
Oh, wow.
And now finally this judge in Delaware is just like, nope, this whole thing is void. Like it never happened.
I mean, did they even try to fight it?
Oh yeah, they totally did.
Really?
Musk and Tesla, they even tried to get all the shareholders to like vote and say, yeah, this pay package is cool.
To, like, make it official or something?
Exactly. They tried to ratify it at their big annual meeting they had down in Texas, but the judge was not having it. She's basically like, you can't just change the rules of the game after you lose.
Oh, burno.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
brutal. And it kind of makes you wonder, like, why did Musk even move Tesla to Texas in the first place?
Right. Was it all about dodging those stricter laws in Delaware, or was it something else?
It's a really good question. Especially because even with all this legal stuff going on, the CNBC article said that Musk's like net worth has gone up by over $43 billion just since Trump got elected.
You're kidding. So losing a $56 billion pay package didn't even make a dent.
Nope. It's kind of crazy, right? Like maybe all the investors out there, they're still super confident in Musk, even with all this drama.
Maybe, or it could be that Tesla's stock is just going up no matter what because, the market's doing its thing.
That's true. It's probably a mix of everything. But it does make you think about how much power these billionaires actually have.
For sure.
Like
Yeah.
even when they lose in court, they're still winning in other ways.
It's wild, isn't it? And the article said that even without this crazy pay package, all his other Tesla stock is still worth like $150 billion.
Gosh.
Yeah, so he's still one of the richest people in the world. It's mind-blowing.
Seriously. Okay, so let's move on to that Reddit thread because things get really interesting there.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
It's like a total mix of people making jokes. Some are like outraged, and then some are actually getting into like the legal stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's super interesting to see how everyone's reacting to this whole thing.
So what are people saying?
Well, some of them are just hilarious, like comparing Musk to like a space Karen.
Oh, my gosh.
But then you've got these other people who are like digging into the details of the lawsuit,
Wow.
debating whether it was even right for the shareholders to sue in the first place.
That's interesting.
It really is. And then one comment I saw that was just like, whoa, it put it all in perspective.
Okay, but what was that?
This person pointed out that just this one pay package, just Musk's could have paid for the salaries and bonuses of every single CEO.
Every CEO.
Yeah,
Wow.
all 500 CEOs in the Fortune 500 for 10 years.
Wow, that's a really good way to visualize how much money we're talking about.
I know, right?
Makes you think.
Totally.
Yeah.
And speaking of money, we can't forget about the lawyers who brought this whole lawsuit on behalf of the shareholders.
Bro.
The article said they're getting a nice little $345 million fee for all their hard work.
Wow.
Yeah. Although at first they tried to ask for like $5 billion.
$5 billion. What?
I know. Can you imagine?
Well, that's crazy.
It really is. And it kind of makes you wonder about the whole legal system, right?
Yeah, like, is it really fair?
Exactly. Like, is it even possible for normal people to get justice if they can't afford these like super expensive lawyers?
That's a big question. I mean, $345 million is still a lot of money.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But it's wild to think they almost got away with like 10 times that.
Yeah, that's insane. Okay, so shifting gears a bit. Remember how we talked about Musk being all buddy-buddy with the incoming Trump administration?
Yeah.
Well, the CNBC article pointed out that a lot of investors are like super optimistic about that whole connection.
Interesting.
And I think that's a big reason why Tesla's stock is doing so well, even with this whole legal mess.
So you're saying that maybe political influence is giving Tesla like a secret advantage.
Well, it's definitely something to think about, right? Like,
Yeah.
does Musk's relationship with Trump give him some kind of edge over other companies?
That's a really good point, especially when you consider like all the government contracts that Tesla has and all the regulations they have to deal with.
Exactly. And this kind of ties into the bigger picture of wealth inequality. Like this whole case with Musk's pay package, it shows how huge the gap is between the super rich and everyone else.
Yeah, it's like we're living in two different worlds.
Totally.
Uh,
Like, while most people are struggling to make ends meet, you have billionaires like Musk who seem to be playing by a completely different set of rules.
And it's not even just about the money itself, right? It's about the power that comes with that kind of wealth.
Absolutely. They can influence everything from politics to the media to the technology we use.
And shape the future in ways that we can't even imagine.
Exactly. So this case with Musk, it raises all sorts of questions about how we hold these super powerful people accountable.
Yeah, like the judge's decision to void the pay package shows that even CEOs aren't above the law,
Yeah.
but it also highlights how tricky corporate governance can be.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like, how do we make sure that corporate boards are actually looking out for everyone, not just the CEO?
And how do we balance the rights of shareholders with the need for companies to innovate and grow?
Right. It's a lot more complicated than it seems.
Totally.
Hmm.
This whole deep dive is like opening a Pandora's box. It's kind of overwhelming to think about all the different issues that are connected to this one story.
Yeah, it's a lot to process. But that's what makes these deep dives so interesting. They make us think critically and consider different perspectives.
And hopefully they inspire us to take action too.
Exactly. Whether it's talking about these issues with our friends and family or supporting policies that promote fairness and equality.
Or even just being more mindful of the companies we support with our money.
Right. It's about recognizing that we're not just watching this happen, we can actually do something about it.
Okay, so let's talk about the future. What kind of impact do you think this court decision will have?
That's a tough one. It could change the way companies think about executive pay.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see more shareholders suing over these huge payouts.
Or maybe companies will find new ways to get around these legal challenges.
Right. It's hard to say for sure, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And what about Musk's relationship with Trump? How do you think that will play out?
Well, that's another big question. Could it lead to policies that favor Tesla and give them an unfair advantage over their competitors?
It's possible. We've already seen how investor confidence in that relationship has boosted Tesla's stock price.
Exactly. And it all comes back to the role of government in regulating industries and making sure there's a level playing field.
So basically, we need to keep a close eye on both the legal system and the political landscape to understand the full impact of this whole thing.
I think so. This case is like a window into some of the biggest issues we're facing today.
Like wealth inequality, corporate power, the influence of technology, and the relationship between business and politics.
It's a lot to take in, but it's important to stay informed and engage in these conversations.
Especially since people are already talking about it and trying to figure out solutions.
That's right. And that's what gives me hope.
It feels like we're at a real crossroads with this case. You know, it could actually change the way we think about executive pay and what companies are responsible for.
It could. And looking ahead, there's this big question about, Musk's relationship with Trump and how that'll all play out. Like,
Yeah.
could we see policies that basically give Tesla a boost and put their competition at a disadvantage?
It's definitely a possibility. I mean, we've already seen how investors are reacting to that relationship.
Yeah,
Tesla's stock is soaring, even with all this legal stuff going on.
exactly. And it brings up that whole debate about the government's role in keeping things fair for businesses.
Yeah, like, are they going to step in and make sure everyone's playing by the same rules? Or will some companies get special treatment?
It's a tough one. We've got to keep an eye on both the courts and what's happening in politics to really grasp the whole picture.
Absolutely. So we've got corporate power, wealth inequality technology, and the whole relationship between business and politics, all wrapped up in this one case.
It is a lot, but that Reddit thread showed us that people are engaged. They're sharing their thoughts and trying to come up with solutions.
Yeah, and that's encouraging. It means people are paying attention and thinking critically.
And that's what can lead to real change.
So what can we do as individuals to make a difference? Should we be supporting companies that share our values?
That's a good start.
What about getting more involved in politics? Pushing for policies that promote fairness and equality.
Those are all great ideas. There's no single right answer. The important thing is to stay informed and talk about these issues with each other.
Yeah, we're not just bystanders in all of this. We have a voice and we can use it.
Exactly. So this deep dive is just the beginning. Keep exploring those sources we talked about, that CNBC article, the Reddit thread, and keep forming your own opinions.
All those links are down in the show notes as always. We hope this got you thinking and gave you some fresh perspectives.
And maybe even inspired you to get involved.
The world's constantly changing, so we have to stay informed, engaged, and ready to make a difference.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and keep learning.